You listened to him on the KVJ show for years. Every time he tried to talk sports, he'd get shut down. After years of begging, we finally gave in. Brought to you by Bremen Motor Cars and by Wellington Anti-Aging. It's Kevin's Other Show on 640 The Hurricane.
Here we go. Welcome to Kevin's Other Show here today. Got a ton of stuff to get to. Coming up today, people that hurt themselves putting on pants. People that get hurt going to games and getting hit in the face with hot dogs. Also last night, the NHL awards. Marjorie Stoneman Douglas's high school team honored. We'll get to that here in a little bit. Bad news for Adam Gase, and bad news, I think, for high school football fans here in South Florida. Shocking news yesterday about Oxbridge Academy. Going to be canceling the football program, or at least not having it coming up this season. So that's going to be kind of interesting to see what's going on there with that.
Crazy news, too, like out of nowhere.
Yeah, it is. If you've been connected and been following a little bit about what's going on with the program, maybe you're not completely stunned. There's kind of been a reversal ever since they'd made some changes at the high school, and maybe you could have seen this coming a little bit. Former coach Doug Sosha is on with us right now. He's at Kaiser University getting a football program together there. Hello, Coach Sosha.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good. How you doing, bud?
Great, man. Just, we're in the middle of our summer grind right now, and, our kids have been working hard here at Kaiser getting ready for our inaugural season, and, we'll shut it down for about a week and a half here coming up, and then we'll be back at it in July, and then getting ready for training camp on July 31st.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I want to talk a good bit about Kaiser and what it's like starting off a program like that. I just want to get your thoughts real quick. Were you surprised by the announcement yesterday about Oxbridge Academy and deciding to cancel the program this season?
Not really, no. I mean, it's, having been there and when we started the program and then being let go by those guys on May 26th back in 2016 when they told me, what they were going to do. I'm not shocked. It was just a matter of time of, when this would come. So I'm disappointed for the kids. Like I said, I'm disappointed for the coaches and disappointed for the alumni, but not shocked.
What happens with that amazing football field? I mean, that football field's like a $2 million complex there with an amazing screen. Does it just now sit empty and it's not used for football anymore, Coach?
I guess so. I mean, it's that was a nice facility that they committed to building, and although they didn't put a press box for some reason, but maybe now I know why. But it's going to sit there, and it'll be really good for the soccer programs and for the lacrosse. But they'll have a beautiful football stadium there, sitting there without any football on Friday nights in Florida, which is kind of odd to me.
Yeah. Now, tell me a little bit about the transfer rule, and I know that was part of the problem with Oxbridge. They graduated 15 seniors. They had their 8th kid had transferred out of the program. They've changed the rules a little bit in the state of Florida. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think it is better for students now to really be able to transfer to whatever school they want whenever they want?
Well, I think that's a sticky subject in terms of, this open enrollment, and if there's seats available, kids can transfer. So I think it just makes it a little bit easier. Obviously, when you talk about private schools, there's a certain dynamic to a private school, and then you got all these public schools now that can get kids from any community. So it's we'll see how that thing works out here in the next couple of years with that new rule.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about Kaiser University firing up a brand new program and starting something like this. This is unlike anything that you've ever done, because from what I'm aware, I mean, you've been many different places, a lot of high school, NFL. You've done pretty much everything in between. What is it like starting up a brand new program from scratch?
It is awesome. It is exciting. There's 100% commitment from the top down, and that's huge. Dr. Kaiser, who's our chancellor and founder of the school, and his wife, they've embraced this project. Our campus president, our vice president, our athletic director, the community, and then we're in South Florida. So, knowing South Florida and looking at, just the college football programs that are around, you've got FAU that's doing awesome. You got FIU that's on the rise. You got the Hurricanes, but there was really nothing but the D1. And now to have a smaller college-level football program with scholarships, the ability to keep kids home, I think this is going to be a major difference maker here in South Florida. When and I not just on the field. I think what we're going to see is when we graduate kids and get them back into our community here, this is going to be a major difference maker for our community.
Tell me about your recruiting strategies. Aware of some of the players that you have, and I think some of them have actually had started out with some D1 programs. And you having the roots that you had at Oxbridge and then before that, American Heritage Delray, are you grabbing a lot of kids? Are they coming from D1 programs wanting to stay in South Florida? Where is your recruiting base and your strategy right now? What does the makeup of your team look like at Keiser University?
Yeah, well, so our recruiting strategy is it's going to start right here in Palm Beach County. And then, we're obviously going to head south into Broward and into Dade, over the West Coast and up the East Coast. And we've got to improve in the central part of the state and up in the Panhandle, but we're pretty much covering the whole state. But it's going to start right here. And it's going to start with high school recruiting. And the relationships that we're building have been huge. But there is also the factor that there are going to be transfers that want to come home. And why they're coming home, there's a lot of different reasons where it didn't work out. We do have a bunch of those guys. I think at one point we had 19 kids that had left the state of Florida that chose to come home and play for us and do it right here in their hometown. And I think on my end of things, when I was a high school coach, I always saw that the challenges of going away, whatever state it might be, it's really hard. It sounds pretty cool during the recruiting process, but in the reality of it, when you're stuck up here in one of these states and your mom and dad know one can watch you play, and maybe the financial part is not great. This place is creating an unbelievable opportunity for these kids to get an education. We're going to be competitive on the football field, and the environment that we've created is going to be outstanding. So, that pretty much makes up our roster. But, we won't limit ourselves to Florida, but it's always going to start right here in Florida because we do have some out-of-state kids. And I think once we put a body of work together on the field, and we're building a brand new facility with a state-of-the-art weight room, locker room, coaches' offices, training room, classroom space. We're going to have a stadium. Once we have more visuals of that, I think our out-of-state recruiting will pick up as well.
What is your timetable on the stadium, and where are you going to be playing this season? We
will play on Keiser's campus. And our facility has gone up in the last 3-4 months. We'll probably move into the facility in about a month and a half is what we're hoping for. Somewhere around that August 1st, August 15th mark. Brand new facility, weight room, locker room. And then our stadium would be right out back. And, there's a bunch of different moving parts with that in terms of bringing in a press box probably the last part of August. We won't play a home game until September 22nd.
Okay.
And, so we'll go on the road the first 3 weeks. We have a bye week in there. So we bought a little bit of time with that. So, for September 22nd, we'll kick off at 12 o'clock against Georgetown College. And, we'll have stands, we'll have a press box, and we'll be ready to go.
Very cool. Well, and if you ever do need a stadium, I do know a high school field that's very nice. It's sitting empty, so.
Yeah, I do too. Too bad.
Coach Scioscia, appreciate you coming on. Hope to talk to you again about Keiser's upcoming football season.
Awesome. Take care, guys.
Okay, take care. Yeah, I was really I had been inside a little bit with Oxbridge when the whole drama went down and they changed out the head of school. Yeah. They got rid of the athletic director. Coach Scioscia was gone, and the writing was kind of on the wall, and I had even talked to some of the former players, and they said the attitude inside the school had just kind of changed towards the football players in the program. But to do what they did last year, they were in the state championship. They just lost by like a field goal to
that's what I'm saying.
Champagnat-Manana, and it's like, okay, and now all of a sudden there's no football team?
That's what seems surprising, especially when you're successful too. I mean, to the point that they were successful, it makes more sense to be in that type of situation.
Well, and I talked to one of their former players today, Trey, that was a wide receiver that graduated in 2015 at Columbia University. And he said, look, there's a big part of it, where athletics and education go hand in hand. And I went to Oxbridge for the football, and it got me into the Ivy League. Yeah. And that's just something they're not going to have. I'm just really surprised that the investment was made. I think as the owner of the Bills gave them all that money, almost a $2 million stadium, because he wanted his grandson to have a great place to go and to play. And then for the school to kind of thumb their nose at a donor like that and cancel the program and just not put any effort into it, to me is baffling.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I really don't understand what Oxbridge is doing and why they seem to be turning their back on the football program. But it's right now supposed to be just for this season, but I just don't know. I mean, when you've got no momentum, how are you all of a sudden going to fire it up?
Yeah, exactly. That's why. You kind of put the brakes on pretty hard.
Without a major recommitment to that program. Coming up here in a couple of minutes, there's an interesting list out of Vegas. Have you seen the odds for NFL coaches to be fired this season?
Oh, my God. They got odds on that?
They got odds
Vegas
on that.
Vegas is ruthless.
Yeah. Do you think the Dolphins coach has made the top 10 in the list? And if he did, where would he be? I'll talk about Adam Gase next.
Stop. No. Kevin's Other Show.
The KVJ.
Don't tell those other guys. 640 The Hurricane.
Could be some major problems for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Let's talk about the impending drama they got coming up here in a second. Vegas, we got to get used to this, man. We're going to be gambling like crazy. You're going to be able to throw money around on anything, man.
It's true.
Yeah.
The prop bets are probably the most fun. Those are the only ones I don't care for gambling in the first place. So the prop bets are the ones that are fun.
Yeah. The ones that they got now, this one's pretty interesting about the first NFL head coach to be fired. If you were taking a look around the league, if you had to guess, maybe 3 coaches you think are very suspect walking into this season.
Yeah. Number 1, I would put Jets head coach. I have no idea why the hell he got re-signed in the first place, but...
and they're picked to be maybe the worst team in the NFL this year.
Yeah. I mean, we have company, though. It's not like it's just us, Kevin. Calm down.
Well, the Dolphins are there.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
They're close.
I feel like it's all like the AFC East except for the Patriots, too. How the Bills projected to do this year?
I don't know about their projections. They, keep in mind the Bills were decent last year. Were they a playoff team or right at the edge of the playoffs? I think they made it in, right?
You know what, man?
Yeah, they weren't far off. I know, isn't it amazing? You can't even remember what happened.
And it's like the most exciting sport year-round.
Yeah.
And still, you have like, did they? Did they not? I don't know.
You get league amnesia for some reason. You're like, going, who did win that?
I highly doubt it because it's very hard to make it into the playoffs as an AFC East team, knowing that you're going to win. Like you have to get a wild card spot.
Yeah.
And the AFC is still, the AFC still has a decent amount of good teams as well.
Well, somebody that's on the hot seat, Adam Gase. They right now, Vegas has got him second best odds to be fired.
Really?
Second best.
Wow.
I don't even know what these numbers mean, but it's plus 750.
What the hell does that mean?
I don't even know what that means.
We're not gambling people,
no,
obviously.
I'm not. Not at all. I just know kind of the breakdown. Yeah, they got him at second. Who do you think would be at first, if you had to say?
I would have to say it's the Jets head coach.
Okay. It's Hugh Jackson, which it is kind of baffling that he wasn't. But, I mean, I guess they're just saying, look, that's kind of on us. We didn't give you the right pieces, and so it's not your coaching, it's front office.
Well, I mean, so he's most likely to get fired. Is what
Hugh Jackson, for Cleveland this year, most likely to get fired. And I think they say, you haven't you sniff anything close. You've won 1 game in 2 seasons, and I don't know how many games Hugh Jackson's going to have to win this year to keep his job.
Yeah, I think that this is the situation is that he kept his job because he said, I didn't have the tools. I wasn't able to do it. I didn't have the tools.
Yeah, right. That is excuse.
Now you have the tools. If you can't pull it off this season, at least making it sniff the playoffs this season, then you're out. That makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's why he's got the best odds. Marvin Lewis, I was surprised by that. He's third on the list, but they seem to love him in Cincinnati.
But consistently doing nothing.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, and they just keep rehiring him over and over again. They just love mediocrity in Cincinnati.
Vance Joseph, former Dolphins, D.C., and Denver. They got him 4th on the list.
I mean, it's just that team's just a wreck. That's why.
And not looking good for the Gruden brothers. They got Jay Gruden, 6th best odds to be the first fired in the NFL, and even John is 11th.
These odds are a little wacko.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, come on.
What do they give him? $10 million to be that?
He's got a 10-year deal, and you're going to he's the 11th Best odds on getting fired?
Smoking rocks.
No.
There's no way.
There's no way.
Because it's gonna take him a couple years. He's got to get his game together and everything like that. No, stop that.
I agree. No way. Well, it could be some trouble for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, this story. If there's anything to it, I don't fully even understand where there's merit here. They're saying Jameis Winston could be suspended for up to 3 games starting off this season. There's an investigation going into allegations that he groped a female Uber driver in Arizona in 2016.
Oh, my God.
That was up, that was out. I remember that popped up, but didn't hear anything about it. But they're saying he might get dinged for violation of the personal conduct policy.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense. I mean, I guess is a violation of personal conduct. Is it true? That's the question.
Well, the thing that had happened with the whole story that really confuses me, there was never a criminal complaint or any kind of civil action. What had happened, and he wasn't even aware of it until Uber contacted him to say, hey, look, your account's being suspended. You got a complaint about groping one of our drivers.
Interesting.
And I guess where the NFL is saying here's where the problem lies is the fact that you did not report the incident. So that apparently is what the suspension is going to come from. I don't get this. I mean, this is being reported on a Tallahassee radio station today. But I don't know. There's a lot of things I don't understand with this story. But right now, with the information we have, it sounds to me almost like a non-issue. There's no complaint. There's no civil action that's being done. Mm-hmm. I mean, so Uber says your account's suspended. Is the NFL that tight that if I get my account suspended, somebody's trying to accuse me of something that maybe I didn't even do?
So there's a complaint that he sexually harassed or groped.
Yeah, a driver.
A driver. Okay, so the driver then complained to Uber. Uber then suspended his service, and because he didn't tell the NFL, now he's going to be suspended.
That's what this report is saying. Is that's why he would be suspended up to 3 games.
Okay. Makes no sense. It really doesn't. Because this is the thing is this real? That's the one thing. Is the allegations. Okay. So
I remember the story. I remember I came up for a second and then it went away and now it's kind of bubbled back up again.
Interesting. Well, I mean, this is the thing. Due process. All these things need due process. I think it's the biggest issue with this whole Me Too movement is that nothing is due process. You're guilty in the eye of public opinion, and that's it. So until there's due process, I don't know how much you could actually be able to look into this. But the thing is that also on top of it, he's got a track record of doing dumb stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that weighs down. That's like if you're a jury in front of your peers. If it's a criminal case and there's substantial evidence, you could be able to get pinged on it.
The dumb stuff he's done, though, has that been in the NFL? I mean, a lot of the stuff with the crab legs and whatever, he's at Florida State.
No, I know that, but it's still, I mean, but okay, so that I think you can take that exact same thing, like what you say, how they perform in college as opposed to how they perform in the NFL. If you're going to take what they do in the NFL you're going to take what they do in college on the field and put it to the NFL on the field, why can't you do that with their actual personality? They're going to do something dumb in college. A lot of times they're going to do something dumb as an adult too. Yeah. So you have to look at that. You be like, okay, well, there's a possibility this could be happening simply because he is an idiot at points in time.
It feels like it's a slow sports day and they needed something to talk about, and so somebody wildly threw out the accusation, I could see him getting up to 3 days, and then somebody ran with it.
This is how Deflategate started.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, that probably holds the most merit out of the entire story.
I got to tell you, though, man, the Buccaneers' opening schedule is brutal. They open at New Orleans.
Yikes.
Then they host the Eagles, and then they play the Steelers on Monday Night Football at Raymond James Stadium.
Holy
That's
guacamole.
Their first. I mean, what is going on with that schedule?
The NFL hates them.
I mean, that is absolutely brutal, isn't it?
Prior to Jameis Winston going out, that's a crap schedule. Now you're going to lose your starting quarterback on top of it. And is Ryan Fitzpatrick still the backup there? I mean, he didn't play too bad in his absence last year, but geez, that's the NFL really hates you.
I mean, that's a tough go right there for the Buccaneers.
No duh.
What do you think about Brett Favre jumping on this bandwagon? He's supporting a bill forbidding anyone under the age of 12 from playing tackle football.
I like it a lot. I think it's smart.
I do too. I am not arguing this at all, especially the more they're learning about the head trauma that's happening, CTE stories that are horrifying. And the fact that why do you really need to play tackle before the age of 12? And, hey, if you decide to have your kid, and if your kid's 5 years old, when my kid was 5, I put him out there on the field, and he got rocked by an 8-year-old, and he's like, "Please don't put me out there again." I'm like,
It's dangerous.
Right. Yeah, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to traumatize
Your
my
brain
kid.
is developing still.
Yeah, and I wasn't aware of a lot of the stories that have come out since then. My kid's now 10. That was 5 years ago, so I didn't know that. I know a little bit more now. He plays flag football, and you can get a lot of the fundamentals down, and you can then start working with kids non-contact wise on how to properly tackle. So when they do hit the age of 12, they hopefully have the skill, learn how to keep their head up, know how to tackle, and so hopefully you can minimize some of the injuries.
Yeah, they're not smelling colors by 10.
Yeah,
you want to avoid that by all costs.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with this, and I just wonder how long it's going to take to implement and what it's going to mean for Florida, because we've got a lot of kids that are 5, 6, 7 years old that are playing tackle football.
Oh, yeah.
And their parents love it, and they're like, don't tell me what to do with my kids.
Yeah, Florida, Texas.
Yeah.
I mean, like the southern states are really into football regardless, but it's going to take a huge hit. A lot of people were saying that this whole CTE thing in younger kids, this movement to stop younger kids from playing is going to hurt the game of football, and it eventually would, because if you think about it, soccer is another alternative to doing this. There's a lot, not saying there's no concussions in soccer, but there's a lot less concussions in soccer, and it's also a lot less equipment you have to buy. So, I mean, that baseball and basketball, well, baseball sometimes, but those are sports that parents are gravitating towards because they don't want their kids hurt.
Absolutely.
So if you implement something like this where it has to be flag football from the early age up until tackle at 12, maybe parents would be like, okay, yeah, you can play football.
Right.
And reinvigorate it.
And you're right. I think the NFL is going to need that. They see their numbers dropping off. They're like, look, let's try to.
Youth numbers have dropped dramatically.
Yeah. Well, and you continue to have these stories, and the more stories you have about CTE cases, and you have people who've played in the league and they can't remember their names,
last year in Jersey, I think there was about 5 or 6 kids that died on the football field.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, it's a risk you take in the game because you're obviously smashing bodies.
Yeah.
But maybe if they do something like this, it would just help parents be like, okay, at least they're ready for it when they get to age 12.
I think there was already one death last week.
Jesus.
University of Maryland, yeah, crazy. Coming up here in a couple minutes, talk about dangerous. I don't know if you can get CTE from a hot dog, but this woman in Philly, she was injured at a Phillies game by a hot dog. How? I'll explain next.
Be part of the show on Twitter at 640 The Hurricane, hashtag Kevin's Other Show.
Personally, I love it when they chuck things into the cheap seats.
Yeah.
People go nuts. You go to any kind of sporting event, and they're shooting T-shirts and
do it at concerts and do everything. Yeah.
And everything. You throw it in there. People go nuts. And you're talking sometimes like you are at a Met spring training game in Port St. Lucie, and my friend's throwing out Frisbees from his business that cost him about a nickel, and people are losing their mind. It's like it's gold.
Oh, yeah.
People go crazy for this kind of stuff. But in Philadelphia, they do something different at the Phillies games. The Philly fanatic has got himself a hot dog gun.
Oh, it seems odd to begin with.
The concept of a hot dog gun is brilliant.
I mean,
I love it.
But still.
I mean, theoretically, yes, taking already gnarly packaged together meat and putting it in a can and then shooting it through the air for you to later consume through your mouth is pretty disgusting.
Oh, that's right. You hate hot dogs, don't you?
Yeah. I mean, really, when you break it down, it's tough for me to.
It's delicious. That's what it is.
Okay. Well, then maybe we can get the Philly fanatic to shoot a hot dog in your general direction.
I had a hot dog for lunch.
I love this report of this woman in Philadelphia who says that she was hurt and badly by a flying hot dog.
But we're going to begin here at 4:30 with a strange story involving the fanatic, a hot dog, and a head injury. And here's a sentence I never thought I'd say, but if you thought a bun and a sausage couldn't really hurt anyone, frankly, think again.
Oh, you get that play there? Frankly? Frank, hot
I
dog?
love local news teases.
Yeah.
They're so good.
Yeah, I love the punny anchors.
Oh, my gosh. I never thought a hot dog could hurt.
Kathy McVeigh did get hurt, and by a hot dog.
It just came out of nowhere. It was like,
hard. She says she couldn't catch or swat it away because she has a shoulder injury that requires surgery in the coming days.
Okay, so wait, so her mobility was affected because she's on the hot dog IR? Is that what's going on here?
That's what it is. She was immobile and could not be able to swat away the flying hot dog.
Yeah, it's sore. It's very sore.
Kathy McVeigh loves the Phillies and doesn't plan to take legal action, but she does have a message for fans.
Just to be aware, because you never know. You would think, I understand a baseball, but not a hot dog.
The Fanatic feels terrible about this. Nobody's ever been injured by a flying hot dog at Citizens Bank Park before.
It's sore. It's very sore.
I bet it is.
How do you get hurt by a flying hot dog? Now, from what I understand, is they take these hot dogs and they wrap them in duct tape.
That's what?
Which sounds delicious.
Well, I mean,
and the reason is for two purposes. One, it gives it a little bit more weight so that it can travel.
Yeah.
And two, apparently when you put a hot dog in a cannon and fire it, it will
explode.
Right.
Yeah,
because
that's what I was just about to ask you that
it's not a
too.
natural found in nature kind of meat. It doesn't come from an animal. So
whoa. If you put a hamburger in that thing, it's going to explode
Not
too.
in that cut. Not like give me a T-bone. That's going to come straight off the animal, right in that place, right in that kind of positioning. I'm not taking all kinds of different parts of different animals and throwing them together and then casing them.
Hot dog hater.
So, apparently it was this heavy hot dog that hit him. But they usually fire them pretty much straight up in the air.
Yeah, it's supposed to give it an arc.
Right. It's not like he's firing them.
It's like Rambo with the hot dog gun.
From 10 feet away, this flying projectile. How can you not move? And you're in a baseball game. I mean, it's fair. Projectiles are always coming into play.
Say hello to my little wiener.
Yeah. So now this woman's going to ruin the hot dog cannon for everybody.
Well, I mean, that's... But why they're wrapping it in duct tape, if by chance they float it down a little bit, they know they're going to hurt somebody.
To me... He probably shot it up in the air. And she probably, because she has shoulder problems and zero mobility. But your face, you can't move your face. Apparently, he got it right between the eyes.
Maybe the guy who was playing the Fanatic used to be the guy they fired that was Billy the Marlin. So he's not used to anybody being in the upper deck. He just has to shoot straight into the crowd to get one in the third seat. You know what I mean?
So what's the more bizarre injury? Getting hit between the eyes with a hot dog at a Philadelphia Phillies game, or throwing out your back, putting on your pants?
Oh.
Brandon Morrow from the Cubs, he's a relief pitcher, and he's now on the disabled list because he hurt himself taking off his pants.
Wow, there.
He got his right leg off, the left one, and he felt a spasm in his back. His back locked up, and now he is going to the IR.
So he didn't even fall? He just twisted wrong?
Yeah, apparently, yeah. He's using his back muscles to try to get his pants off, and then he maybe caught his... You ever catch your toe in your pants and fall forward or something like that? Maybe that's what it was, and his back kind of locks up and spasms on him.
I've never had my back spasm taking my pants off.
And if you do that, do you want to tell your boss that that's why you're hurt?
No, you want to say somebody assaulted you. You want a criminal case filed.
You want something better than I'm taking off my pants.
Yeah, I got my middle toe stuck on my belt loop.
Yeah.
That's not a very manly way to be able to go down.
Well, the Marlins, they had a very uneventful game. And they got beat. So... didn't work out. There's not a lot of action.
It was a lot of lead up. This whole series was a lot of lead up. There was a walk off. It was this whole night. It was very joyous.
Yeah.
And then just 2 times in a row.
Disastrous. It was a 5-run 6th inning for the Giants. They win 6-5.
Jeez Louise.
And take the series. Castro had a pair of runs. Brian Anderson had 3 hits. So, he's kind of getting out of his slump and doing a lot better. Mm-hmm. Giancarlo Stanton, they're saying, had a breakthrough. 2 outs, bottom of the 9th.
Yeah.
He's up to bat, and he hits a rocket shot.
There'll be an 0-2 to Stanton. Swung on and driven to deep left center. That ball is high. It is far. It is gone.
Goodbye.
It's a game-winning bottom of the 9th. 2-out walk-off home run by Giancarlo Stanton.
Best part.
Giancarlo non si può stopparlo.
He's still doing that?
He hits a 2-run blast. A Stantonian home run. And the Yankees have come all the way back. 5-0 down for a 7-5 victory in one of the great games of the year.
Oh, he's still doing
yes.
Stantonian?
Yes.
Gosh.
There is no one. When I listen to baseball games, I love baseball announcers, but there's something about John Sterling that his home run calls are some of the best home run calls in baseball history. I love it, and he doubles down.
You're a fan of that?
I love John Sterling. You kidding me? John
The Stantonian?
The Stantonian.
Yeah.
And then he says some gobbledygook Spanish before that. I don't know what the hell he said.
Si bueno.
Yeah, bueno. I was like, all right, cool. I'm with that. Did a little Florida with them and everything like that, but yeah.
That's a tough pitch, too. It looked like a breaking ball, too. He took that thing out at 117.9
2
miles
outs.
per hour. Yeah.
What was the count? That was the only thing I didn't see.
It was 0-2.
Oh, okay. It was 0-2, but it was 2 outs. So, I mean, he swung it that hard, and if he...
You're probably not real thrilled if, you're the manager of the Mariners and you got an 0-2 on Stanton in the bottom of the ninth and you throw that pitch. I mean, I don't think it was a bad one, but, I mean, you don't want to throw that anywhere near the strike zone when you got him on that count.
No.
What are you doing, dude? I mean, I'm like, really? You let him go yard on you on an 0-2 count?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think that was the count. I think that's what he says. Is that what he said at the beginning, or did he say 2 outs? Hold on.
There'll be an 0-2 to Stanton.
Yeah.
Yeah, 0-2. Okay.
Yeah, it's
0-2, and you throw that anywhere near the plate?
It's really stupid.
Come on, man.
It's really stupid.
Gosh.
I mean, but he's got 18 or 19 home runs on the season. I think it's 18 on the season.
He has got, for him, it was good, and they're saying this is a big turning point because he did that in Yankee Stadium. He has got 17 total on the season, 8 now in Yankee Stadium, 9 away. He's hitting a little bit better away, 295 away, 213 at home.
But he's broken that weird slump of not being able to do anything at home.
Right.
He's starting to be able
clutch.
to do it.
I mean, that was a
good.
clutch moment. I mean, when you're
Absolutely.
down 0-2, 2 outs, bottom of the ninth, and you take it yard, that was the hardest hit walk-off home run since they started measuring in 2015.
I would imagine. He's a John Henry. He just has a sledgehammer.
Yeah.
And he slices it into the sky.
Yankees manager Aaron Boone on the hit.
This was a good one. This is a good one where, again, it looks like it's going to be a ho-hum, go down to defeat. You're just trying to piece it together from a bullpen standpoint, and the guys just kind of hang around. And so maybe when we look back on the year, this will be something they point to, certainly for Giancarlo, a guy of his stature. But I don't get that much into that. I'll let you guys define that.
I mean, it's a valid point, but he is right. He's like, this could be something that we look back at the end of the baseball season, regardless of where they turn out, and say this may be the game that turned everything around for Giancarlo Stanton. But I was talking to Leo in the hallway because you can't walk by Leo without something like that happening and being pulled away.
Yankees just sucks you in. It's like a gravitational pull. He's like a Yankees planet.
Yankees succubus.
Yeah.
So
Yankees black hole.
And he said to me, he goes, it's all good and well, but it doesn't matter unless you win. I'm like, okay, well, I mean, I was
won, so what's his point?
No, he's saying the big game. Unless you win the World Series, none of this matters.
Oh, jeez.
This is just the mentality a lot of people have. But I mean, look at if this happened to the Marlins. I mean, there'd be a parade. Who gives a crap if they even made it to the playoffs?
Well, for him, it just seems like he's had some kind of mental block inside Yankee Stadium, and he actually was getting some crap before he even got to bat in the bottom of the ninth, and so maybe this kind of turns the corner a little bit for Stanton.
Good for him.
Most everybody thinks it's going to. If you didn't catch the Marjory Stoneman Douglas hockey team at the NHL Awards, we've got some of that for you coming up next.
You can tell his wife, just don't tell those other guys. It's Kevin's Other Show on 640 The Hurricane.
Kind of some bizarre stuff to kick off the NHL Awards last night. Don't know if you caught any of that last night, Ricky Bobby, but...
Can't say that I did.
Yeah.
Didn't even know they were on, to be honest.
Yeah, it was just kind of odd, some of the stuff that they had going on there. The person that they had hosting part of it was a magician.
What?
Yeah.
What, like the Amazing Jonathan? The Penn and Teller or something like that?
Yeah, kind of. It was just some weird stuff that they kind of had going on. He's like on there and he's doing like magic tricks. He's doing like card tricks. And you're like, well, what am I watching here? I just don't even get this. He was laying out the cards, and then apparently he screws up the entire bit. And it's just, I'm like, what does magic and hockey have to do with one another?
I mean, I guess it's magic that Americans like hockey. I'm not totally
Maybe,
sure.
yeah. That part was a little bit underwhelming. The best part.
They obviously didn't go to Vegas to be able to figure out how to do their pregame show.
No, No, it didn't carry over. The best stuff that they had going on, they had Luongo, who, lives in Parkland,
Yes.
and right after the shooting that happened at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, he was fantastic on the mic, on the ice, paying tribute and, talking about his community and what had happened at the high school. And they handed the mic to him last night at the NHL Awards with the hockey team in attendance.
In the months since 17 lives were lost on February 14th in the Parkland community, my family and I call home, these young men and their classmates have inspired our community and the nation with their resilience, their strength, and their candor. We all hope that their example can spark the action needed to ensure that our kids can be safe at school and that the tragedies like the one that occurred at MSD in February will never happen again. Tonight, representing the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School hockey team, senior forward Jesse Guttenberg, sophomore forward Justin Colton, sophomore forward Adam Hoffman, and recent graduate team captain Matthew Hoffman.
Thank you. On behalf of the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas Hockey Club, we would like to thank the Panthers organization and the NHL for all they have done and continue to do for us. You were there for us, and we truly appreciate your support. Thank you.
Cool moment. So it's nice that hockey has stayed with Marjorie Stoneman Douglas the way that they have.
Yeah, it's. I mean, they got hit hard, especially. I mean, Luongo living in Parkland.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure he has children. I don't know how old they are, but I mean, you figure they go to school around that.
Yeah, they're
area.
younger kids.
So I mean, it's all rough. It's all tough to be a part of the community when something like that happens and everything like that. But the Panthers have been really cool with them and very supportive, letting them practice on their ice before they went on for the trip and everything like that. So it's nice and nice show of community.
Hockey's less than 4 months away already. It's coming up.
Insane. What the?
I know.
It just ended.
It just ended, and it's 4 months off. The Panthers are going to be starting with Tampa Bay October 6th. They will be there at the Lightning's home opener, and then they're going to be opening up with the Blue Jackets at BB&T on October 11th. So that's not an easy first draw.
No.
Mm-hmm.
No, not really. But you know what? They got their new forward. They had a very, very good system going on last year. Ended strong. The only reason why they didn't make it to the playoffs was because of another team. It wasn't because of them. I mean, technically, if you go back into the annals of last year, yes, obviously it was them. But
did you happen to see what they did with the logo? I know they're doing a 25th anniversary logo, and they're going to unveil it in Lauderdale like last week. And
did they do it?
They were supposed to. They're supposed to have kind of like like a pub crawl or something. Hey, check out our new logo while you're here.
Pub crawl.
I don't even know what was the deal with it.
They're gonna show something all weird. Everyone's gonna be into it because they're gonna be so drunk.
Well, it's a good way, give somebody some booze and be like,
yeah, exactly.
Hey, so what do you think?
It was so great.
Yeah,
it's like a kitten. What the hell's going on? You turn into the Florida kitty cats.
Did you see that Burger King apologized for that promotion we talked about yesterday, where if you get knocked up by a World Cup player?
I wonder why. It's a bit much. Yeah, it's really crazy. Yeah, they came out and did that whole entire thing. But
yeah, pretty insane. The thing that I find a little bit difficult, like yesterday I was watching some World Cup, and it was in Spanish. So I'm in this lobby. I'm watching World Cup. It's in Spanish.
Telemundo.
So I'm already, I'm trying to figure out what's, going on anyway. My Spanish is mal, which is bad. That's about it.
Yeah. The word no.
So I can't even figure out who's playing because they got these country codes because they only use the 3 letters.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I have no idea who's even playing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting there trying to figure it out. And it's You Are You. And I'm like, who's You Are You? I'm like, what am I even watching here? We had him yesterday on the show. You Are You would be who?
Russia?
It's a great guess. Uruguay.
Uruguay, damn it.
Uruguay.
Aren't you from Uruguay? Isn't that a team you were going to be going after? Or Egypt or something like that?
Yeah, I'm pulling for Uruguay now. They were the first country in the world to legalize recreational marijuana.
Oh, that's right.
That's why we were talking about them yesterday.
Yes, I'm like, why the hell we don't remember talking about
And they're in the World Cup, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Who was the other team they were playing?
I don't know because I didn't know the codes. I'm sitting there watching. I'm like going, who's NGA?
What is this? Nigeria.
Oh, it's a good one. Very nice. Yeah. CRC would be what?
Czech Republic?
It's a good guess. Costa Rica.
Ah, damn it.
I'm going to throw another tricky one at you. SUI is who?
SUI.
SUI.
Oh, man. I don't know. Something with an S.
Switzerland.
Why you?
I know.
You figured W.
Come on, man.
SWI.
What are you guys doing to us?
Swi.
Yeah.
I was thinking like South Pole or something like that.
Yeah, so you see, South.
I don't know.
they do soccer there?
I was like, there's no way. Hey, they got penguins.
Did you see this story? Apparently, the Saudi Arabian Soccer Federation. Remember, Saudi Arabia, somehow all of a sudden Russia's amazing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, go figure. Russia hosting the World Cup, and now all of a sudden they're the best soccer team on the planet. They came out, remember the first match? They whooped Saudi Arabia 5-0.
Yeah.
I think Saudi Arabia lost their second match like 1-0. And now the Soccer Federation in Saudi Arabia has said, quote, the players as they come home will be dealt a severe penalty.
Oh, Jesus.
What does that mean? Because remember back in the day, wasn't it Saddam's sons were like hacking up the Iraqi soccer team, like locking them in prisons and like chopping their legs off and stuff?
Yeah, there was that. Remember a long time ago, there was that Brazilian soccer player that scored an own goal in the World Cup.
Oh, right, yeah.
And he wound up being murdered. Like, they take it very serious. This is the reason why I don't want the World Cup here.
Yeah, they don't play.
They scared the crap out of me.
I know.
And you're gonna want them coming over here with their bears and vuvuzelas and chopping people up?
I don't think they chop anyone up until they go home. Then when you come home, like at the airport, forget about it. They got a guillotine that's just waiting.
Yeah, shipping's a bitch over there. That's why.
That's right.
You don't want to have to bring all the pieces back.
The promo and trailer for Creed 2 is out.
I didn't actually watch the trailer, but I did see it, and every review is like, it's going to get you hyped. I'm like, all right.
It's Drago.
Oh, it is?
It's good. Yeah. They're talking about it's a lot of the same kind of language that happened in Rocky IV when he was telling Apollo Creed. Now it's his son, and you don't know until the very end. They're talking about, man, he's so good, and then at the end comes this boxer. He turns around on the back. It just says Drago.
So it's like his son or something?
Yeah, it's the boys. It's Apollo's son versus Drago's son.
Interesting. All right.
I kind of like it, man.
I mean,
kind of hype.
The not media, the entertainment industry is just sopping up all the nostalgia they can sop up at this point.
Go for it, man. I'm in. I'm all in on this.
For some things, yeah. As soon as they do Back to the Future, that's it. We're burning Hollywood down because this can't happen. This cannot happen.
Well, if you want to see that trailer, we got it up on our Twitter, Kevin's Other Show. You can find us there. Follow along. You can also catch us on YouTube and the podcast. Go to your podcast apps. Just do the search, Kevin's Other Show.
You listened to him on the KVJ Show for years. Every time he tried to talk sports, he'd get shut down. After years of begging, we finally gave in. Brought to you by Wellington Anti-Aging. Low T? Go to WellingtonAntiAging.com. And by Bremen Motor Cars in West Palm Beach, a world-class experience. Shop BremenPorsche.com now. It's Kevin's Other Show on 640 The Hurricane.